If you're thinking about moving to Phoenix, you've probably heard the basics. It's hot, it's sunny, there's great golf and hiking. But what you haven't heard, that's where people get into trouble. And today, I'm giving you 10 little known mistakes most people make when moving to Phoenix. But I'm also going to tell you how you can avoid every one of them. Mistake number 1 is underestimating just how spread out Phoenix is. Phoenix is one of the largest metro areas in the US by land size. While cities like San Francisco and Boston feel dense and walkable, Phoenix is wide and flat, built for cars, not really pedestrians. Everyone thinks that Phoenix is just a city, but it's really a giant metro area made up of a lot of cities. And what looks like it could be close on a map could be 45 plus minutes away during rush hour. Now, if you're wanting to check drive times, make sure you use Google Maps during those peak rush hour times, like 8 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock at night. This will really help you simulate what the actual drive time will look like before you buy. Don't rely on weekend drive times. You might also want to check some of the other areas that you know you're going to want to go to often, just to see how far away those are. Now, mistake number 2 is trusting new construction just a little too much. The Phoenix metro area is growing fast, especially on the outer edges, like Buckeye, Queen Creek, and North Peoria. But with that growth can come some rushed development. So you'll need to know about some of the common issues that can come up with new builds if this is something that you want to look at. Some have some grading and drainage problems. You can also find some cosmetic cover-ups that might be hiding some deeper flaws. Some builders cut corners on insulation or use low-cost materials. Then there's the living with the subcontractors for 6 to 12 months after you move into the home to fix all the things that you find as you're living in the home. This can be really inconvenient. Now, the biggest tip if you are going to buy a new build is that you should be getting the home inspected by an independent third-party inspector, not just the builder's crew. And these inspections should be happening at pre-drywall as well as before it's delivered. Also, research the builder's reputation online. Ask about warranties, timelines, and any history of delays. Honestly, the builder's representatives are going to give you the rosiest picture they can possibly paint for this, but a good real estate agent is going to be able to help you with some of this because we know the good, the bad, and the ugly because we've usually lived it with our other clients. Now, mistake number 3 is thinking desert landscaping is maintenance-free. Now, Phoenix yards are often what we call xeriscaped. That means there's rock, cactus, and native plants. But that doesn't mean there's zero maintenance. Things you will still have to deal with when it comes to landscaping: drip irrigation systems. These will need to be checked regularly and will require repairs. And if the irrigation system is old, hunting down those leaks can be challenging. Also, our desert plants like palo verdes and mesquites need seasonal trimming, and some of our plants can grow really fast, which means you are going to have ongoing maintenance. Now, our monsoon rains trigger weed growth like wildfire, which will need to be dealt with quickly before it gets out of control. The best thing to do is to hire a local landscape company that can do regular maintenance for you. This will also help if your HOA has strict landscape requirements so that you are not consistently getting letters or fines. Mistake number 4 is forgetting about pest control. Phoenix is in the Sonoran Desert, and with that comes bugs. And some of the most common offenders are scorpions, which are in North Scottsdale, Cave Creek, Desert Ridge, and really anywhere that has a lot of new construction. See, scorpions live in the dirt, and once their home is disrupted, they kind of start to find other places to go. We also have spiders and black widows, as well as termites. And the saying here in Phoenix is that your home either has them or will have them. And then in the Arcadia area, you need to be aware of roof rats. Now, some think that clean homes don't get pests. And this is not true. Many can enter through pipes or baseboards or any gaps in doors and windows. Now, there are a few ways you can protect your home. You can get your home sealed for scorpions if you're living in a higher risk area. Make sure to schedule monthly maintenance year-round and seal baseboards, any gaps in your doors and windows, and any plumbing gaps. Mistake number 5 is not preparing for cold nights. People expect heat in Phoenix, and winters can be deceptive. From about November to February, nighttime lows here in the valley can dip into the 30s and 40s, which often surprises people. So because of this, new homeowners will often skip their heater being checked before the winter, assuming they won't need it. That is just not true. So it is just as important to have your heater checked as it is to have your air conditioner checked before the summer. Now, to help with those cooler temperatures, investing in those smart thermostats can be effective, as well as adding some insulation and weather stripping to any areas that have gaps. Now, mistake number 6 is jumping into solar without doing your research. Now, solar is popular in Phoenix and kind of for a good reason, kind of. But if you don't understand how it works here, it can really hurt more than help. What you really should avoid when it comes to solar here are leased solar panels. Now, these can be easily transferred to a new buyer. However, the buyer will have to qualify for that lease, which can kill a deal. Not to mention, many buyers don't want an additional payment because the solar panels often don't get rid of the electric bill altogether. So now they have the electric payment as well as a solar lease payment. I have seen this cause more problems with the deal than I care to think about. And ultimately, what happens is the contract ends up canceling, all because of leased solar panels. A few other things you need to know about is that some HOAs have strict rules for solar placement. And poorly placed solar panels, meaning they're facing in the wrong direction or they've got too much shade over top of them, means they won't have a good output. So you won't be creating that much energy, and therefore your savings won't be that much. Now, if there are solar panels on a home, there are a few questions you need to ask. Number 1, are those solar panels leased or owned? And in either situation, you want to find out if they're paid off. You also need to know if there is still an electric bill in addition to a lease payment. I would also want to know what that solar lease payoff is to find out if the seller was potentially willing to pay that off at close. Mistake number 7, assuming you'll be comfortable without a pool. Phoenix summers are brutally hot, and a private pool becomes more than a luxury. It is a major quality of life feature. See, not all communities have community pools, and city public pools are often crowded and have strict hours that they're open, so you can't just go when you want to. Now, if you're thinking about installing a pool, if you buy a home with a backyard that's large enough, the cost for that can be anywhere between $60,000 and $100,000 plus. Plus, there's months of wait time. Now, something else I talk to my clients about if they're thinking about putting in a pool is if they're planning on being in the house for at least 10 years. Because if they're not, they are not going to get that money back from that initial investment of putting in that pool. Now, when it comes to the investment part of owning a home, the thing to know is that pools here often will sell faster and for more money. So if you have a choice of a home with a pool or a home without a pool, I might lean towards the home with a pool. Now, if you can't afford a house with a pool or the home that you find just doesn't have it and you love the home, there are a few other things you can do to help mitigate the heat in the summertime. And one is putting up misters and the other is putting up some shade structures. This will really help you be able to utilize that backyard a lot longer. Mistake number 8 is thinking that HOA fees are always low. Phoenix is full of master plan communities, which often come with HOAs. Some are $30 a month, and some can be $400 plus a month, especially if they include golf, pools, tennis, playgrounds, gym, or gated access. Now, some people really don't love HOAs because they feel like maybe some of the amenities that they're paying for, they are never going to use. Now, something else to know about HOAs is that their rules can put some restrictions on things like the exterior paint color of your house, what you can do landscaping-wise, if you can or cannot have solar, and even rental usage. Now, if you are concerned about the HOAs, one of the things that you can ask for before you buy the home is a copy of the CC&Rs so that you can review them. Now, once you're under contract on a home, you will get a copy of those, but if you are really concerned about some things that might be in those rules, you can ask for that before. Mistake number 9 is underestimating your summer electric bills. So Phoenix summers equal your AC running 24/7. There's no getting around that. And your electric bills can easily hit $400 to $800 a month, depending on the size of your home and the temperature you like your home. If your home is older, there might be less insulation, or the HVAC systems might be a little bit older. There also might not be as much shade covering the house, helping with the electric bills. Now, during the inspection, the HVAC system will be checked out, and the thickness of the insulation in the attic should be looked at by the inspector as well. Having both of these looked at will give you an idea of how they're functioning so that you can make adjustments if needed. Some other things you can do to better help you understand what it's going to look like in the summer months: ask the seller for the past 12 months overall usage. Consider adding shade screens on some of the windows that get really hit by the sun. And smart thermostats like Ecobee and Nest could also help out. You can also check with your utility provider. They often have different plans so that you're not being hit by these huge summer bills, and maybe you can go on more of an equalizer plan so it's not such a drastic swing. Mistake number 10 is forgetting about flood risks. Just because Phoenix is a desert doesn't mean that it can't flood. And during monsoon season, washes and low areas can fill up quickly. And you need to be cautious during these times because we can see some flash flooding. You also need to be aware that some areas are in flood zones and will require mandatory flood insurance. You also need to be careful if you're driving in an area where they have the washes that actually run after the monsoon season. If you decide to drive through one of these washes and get caught, it could really cost you. See, we have a stupid motorist law, meaning that you would have to pay the city back for your rescue if you get stuck. Now, just because you are living in a flood zone, does that mean that when we have these flash floods that your home is going to be flooded? Not necessarily. The washes we have really do help direct the water away from homes, but it is something that you just need to be aware of. Now, if you are still thinking about moving to Phoenix and you want to know about all the neighborhoods that you should avoid, you're going to want to watch this video. As always, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.